Hi, this is Tony Levin of the Beat Band, and you're listening to 89 FM.
So, Tony, first of all, I want to know how did this idea of forming Beat come, and why did you choose to revisit these three specific albums from King Crimson?
Thank you for that question. It was Adrian Belew's idea. Adrian Belew was the lead singer and one of the wonderful guitar players in King Crimson in the 1980s and beyond. And Adrian, for years, had the idea to revisit the music from the 1980s. We made three albums that were very special and very influential to other musicians. And we've played a lot of music in the years since then in King Crimson in different and individually in different bands, but not usually that same music. So he had that idea maybe 5 years ago, and it took him a long time to realize the idea because COVID came along and it was very important to choose the right players, not to go back to King Crimson, but to have special players. And then he finally got Steve Vai interested, wonderful guitar player, an amazing player who can play Robert Fripp's parts. But Steve Vai is a very busy player. I mean, he's busy with other bands and doing his own tours. And likewise, Danny Carey, who plays in Tool, very busy. And I'm busy, actually. So it took us years, even after we committed and we knew we were going to do it, it took a few years to find a segment of time that we were free. And then last fall, we very happily got together. We rehearsed quite a bit in the summer, late summer, and we did 64 shows across the US and Canada. And we got very tight as a band and we got our act together and we really enjoyed revisiting this music. So we're a real band now. Then we took a few months off and we're going to pretty soon, a week from now, as we're speaking, it'll be a week from now that we'll get together in Mexico and rehearse a little bit and then begin our Latin America tour.
And the addition of Steve Vai and Danny Carey brought a whole new energy to the project. How has it been to work with these two iconic people?
Thank you. You're exactly right. They are iconic, and it did bring a very different energy and wonderful. Mind you, I like the band very much the way it was in 1980s. That was good too, but it's refreshing to me to bring music to different players and see what they do with it. And these players are both they're both unique, have their own style, and things change from night to night. It's not always the same, and I love that as a player. And also, I like. I'm trying to think of a way to say this that's appropriate to be on the radio. I like to be kicked in the back by the other players to improve, to up my game, as we say in America, to improve my own playing and not just do the same thing all the time. And these guys do it, especially Danny Carey on drums, who's sitting right behind me. So I'm very aware of everything he's doing on the drums. It's exciting, it's wonderful, and it takes it sometimes into different territory than King Crimson, and I love that.
hmm And for someone who have never seen Beat Live, what can they expect from this experience?
Well, a lot of the audience will know this King Crimson classic material, but some of them, of course, don't. And some people, many of the people who come to our shows, the ones we've done, are young and weren't around even in the 1980s when we first toured it, so they haven't heard it live. It's very interesting and compelling material. Adrian is a great singer, Adrian Blues, and that you can kind of understand where it's coupled, but that was in other years. So there's that, and I think visually it's a very good show. We have a really special light show uh, that's interesting, and the staging is good. We don't dance around and jump around. It's all pretty much based on the music and the musicianship. And Steve Vai, I mean, if you haven't seen Steve Vai, just to see this guy play the guitar is worth coming to any show because he's unlike anybody else. He's a whole show on his own.
This is the first time of Beat in Brazil. What are your expectations for this concert in São Paulo?
Well, okay. It's a special show. We're doing music that even if you didn't hear it from the classic King Crimson recordings, the music is worth listening to. They're very special. Adrian Belew is a fantastic lead singer, and this music of King Crimson is more accessible than some of the years of King Crimson music. I like it all, even when it's not so easy to palate. But there's a lot of songs that you can understand and things like that. And the musicianship is very high. We have a good, very good special stage show. The lighting is very special. And Steve Vai, if you haven't seen him, it's worth coming just to see Steve Vai. He's an astounding guitar player, and he puts on a show just on his own. If you don't look at anything else on stage, it's worth being there to see Steve Vai.
And Tony, you've been to Brazil before, right?
I have a few times. I haven't counted, maybe not so many, maybe 4 or 5, maybe even 6 times. I'm after our interview, I'm going to look it up how many times I've been there. And I always have a good time, of course.
Do you have any special memory from here?
I would say I'm not too good at remembering things that go back a long time, but one time when I was there with Peter Gabriel and we were playing in a stage before the show, ready to go on, and he Milton Nascimento walked up to me. He was standing next to me. I was at that time a big fan. I'm still a big fan of his. I was a big fan of his. I couldn't believe that I'm standing next to him, and we were talking about the show and things like that. So for me, maybe that was my.
Did you face any challenge by revisiting King Crimson songs because you're looking now with a new perspective, right?
Very good question. And there were challenges. First of all, some of the music, some of the bass parts I played back in the 80s were easy to relearn. I remembered a lot of them actually, but some of the parts on the Chapman stick has a stereo output and a bass side and a guitar side. And in that band, I was sometimes playing different time signature on the guitar side than I was on the bass side. And after I did it a lot in the 80s, it became easy. So getting my fingers to learn that again, that was pretty tricky. And you know what else was difficult just for me? I sang background vocals on some pieces. Adrian is great at the lead vocals, and his voice hasn't changed at all, but I can't sing as high as I did back then. So that was a little bit of a challenge. Not a big problem, but interesting to ask about challenges. And let me add that I kind of like challenges. I don't like to just go and do things the easy way. So I enjoyed practicing and having to get those things under my fingers. As for the high notes, I couldn't make my voice any higher than it is, so I had to take them down an octave.
And Tony, that might be a personal question, but you're also a photographer. Can we expect like behind scenes documents
Yeah,
from
thank you
this
for knowing that.
tour?
Thank you for knowing that. I will, of course, for myself, I'll take pictures of the whole tour, of everything that happens. But also, I love, for many years, I keep what I call a road diary online at tonylevin.com to share with those in the audience who know about that, want to go and see my pictures of the audience at the show. Certainly at the end, I'll take a picture of the audience. And also they can get a sense. It's pretty special that now with the internet, people can get a sense of what it's like for the band, not just see them on stage. So yes, I'll be taking pictures and sharing them online.
Any plans to expand the tour from other countries in South America?
Oh yes, the tour is booked in let's see, Mexico, Colombia, Brazil, Argentina, Chile, and Peru. That's the tour.
And you've been on the road for a long time, but this is a kind of new project. Do first times still excite you?
Yes, anything that happens the first time is exciting when you're on the road, especially for as many years. I've been doing this a long time. As many years as me, there's a lot that doesn't surprise you. You've already been in that hotel and in that dressing room and in that venue, but it's still all worth it, very easily worth it because of those 3 hours on stage where you make music, which could be magical that night. So I'm not saying it's not good, but there's not so many surprises. So when something new comes up, a new place or a new city, and I meet new people, of course, backstage and in the venue and things like that, all of that not only is exciting, but it makes it a life worth living. Just to go out and have 22 hours of nothing and then 2 hours that are very special would still be worth doing, but it wouldn't be so special.
And that 3 albums of King Crimson you choose to represent are quite different from the classic songs from the band. What does this represent to you musically and personally?
Well, yes, good, very good question. Those three albums of the 80s is when I joined the band. I knew of King Crimson before that, but I wasn't in it. And in the later years, in the 90s and onward, we played some of the classic King Crimson music from the 70s before I was in it, and that's very special music, but I only learned it later. So when I joined the band, it was special to me because I was in a band famous for being creative and doing things differently, but I hadn't done that. I hadn't been in that situation before. So it was a big challenge, and I learned a lot of how to do that from the other players in the band, not just Adrian Blue, but Robert Fripp and Bill Bruford, who was the drummer at that time. So musically, it was very influential, and it really opened the door for me to play a new style of music that I have been playing ever since, which we call progressive rock.
Hmm. And now with Beat, do you have the feeling that new people are discovering King Crimson sounds?
People talk about that, but you know what? I try to not talk about things that I don't really know about, and I'm not an expert at that at all. I hope people who listen to us are moved by the music, and if it influences their music, then that's a great thing. But I don't have really any information about that.
Hmm. And now, Tony, to finish, can you send a message to your Brazilian fans who can't wait to see Beat live?
Yes, to our Brazilian fans, I can't wait to see you at the show. I think we have a very special show. I hope you come and I hope you enjoy the show. I think you'll find it an interesting and challenging bunch of music with hopefully very special players.
Mhm. Okay, Tony, thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me.
89. A Rádio Rock.